Alright, got my tank back for the expansion tank for the coolant system, and I'm about to get that mounted. I got my nut certs in here, a couple of mount points. There is the tank. I'll probably clean that up a little bit. Probably clean that up a little bit, bolt that in there, get my fittings in, and I'm probably going to have to take these apart and redo the length on those hoses, which isn't a big deal because those are all reusable hose ends on there. And then we'll get the intake installed. Got the tank installed. Tight fit. It came out pretty good. Gave it a little bit of a polish. There's the vent line for the overflow, and I got that running down. It'll dump out on the inside here. So that is at least twice as big as the other tank, so that should be good. Now I'll get the intake in there. I just tied all this together. That's in there pretty solid. Now I'm going to bring this around, put another collar on there with another bracket, and hold the other end of that tight. Okay, there's what I came up with on the intake to tie it down. Pretty solid, pretty good. You know, and I can remove that to service it if I need to, but that's in there solid, tight. Looks real good. And it'll flex a bit in all these rubber joints, you know, if the motor tweaks a little bit. So same thing over here. And everything fits nice and tight, you know, next to each other. Everything's all integrated well. Hopefully it all works. So that part's done. Tie up a couple more things in here with the PVC. Alright, here we are again, getting some more of the fine tuning done on stuff. Things are a little more finalized, final installation. Looks like you gotta listen to my dog eat. So yeah, the intake's done. In. Solid. Not gonna move. With the removable panel here, because I got a couple of mounting spots on the body, if you remember, little tabs, and that'll unhook from here. I'll probably put a nut cert on those tabs and make a screw here also. for each of those spots. Anyways, take that off and service that filter. Just pull that loose and take it off and clean it. There's my tank. See if we can see underneath it. Very tight. Low tolerance on everything. You know, the fuel level sender is just right next to the inlet and the outlet for the tank. You know, that barely clears the frame. Just everything is just so tight. That's the way this whole car is. That tank came out pretty good. It's much more than 1.25 quarts. That's probably 2 1/4. That should give me enough expansion with all the tubes and all the water this thing holds. You know, to keep a level here somewhere, let that expand and then you know, never empty out. I just watched my last video. It's kind of funny. I mentioned like 5 times I was waiting for that gold foil. But I got that done on those parts down in there. It's hard to see it, but that's going to work good for a heat shield down there. I went ahead and ordered some more. I'm going to do some of that up here. I think I mentioned that in the last video too. And I'm waiting for quite a few parts this week. I'm getting some plugs for each side for the O2 sensor. Just get some plugs and put in there. I'm just running one on each side pre-cat. What else here? What else here? I went and tidied up some of the wiring. My ECU, I just got a call today and it's being sent back, ready to plug in, ready to fire up. So yeah, fuel system's done, ready for fuel. Cooling system's done, ready for coolant. Need to lube the cylinders. Throw some WD in there. Let it soak overnight. Turn it over a couple times. And dump some oil in it. And then I'll turn it over, you know, without the plugs in it, to see if we can build some oil pressure. Here's some of the wiring. It's pretty much finalized. I don't know if you can see under here. But all that came out pretty nice. This wire right here I have left hanging is going to be for an interior light. I've got a wire hanging here. Same place on the other side. One up here in the center, which will be on one circuit through the ISIS. And then I got another wire which is hanging here for interior light for the engine bay. That's going to be on a different circuit on the ISIS. And I'm waiting for a few different sizes of this nylon, braided nylon wrap. That's a painless product. I had someone ask me where I got that stuff. Pretty good stuff. I like it. It's really tough. You can, you know, it's hard to even cut it with a knife. And it's real easy to get into. You know, it's hardly any effort, and it looks cool. And I'll do all this in here. I got this all organized and taped together underneath here. That's all ready for the nylon wrap. Got a pretty short list of things left to do, and this thing's done. I'll wrap these wires up here too. Next thing I'm going to do, I haven't glued that down and riveted in. I'll get that in next. It's going to be time to think about a stereo pretty soon. Got some more of the wiring taken care of here. All wrapped up, looks pretty tidy, looks pretty clean. Kind of disappears in all the black, you know. And then same thing up under the driver's compartment here. Got all those wires done. Waiting for a pilot bearing. And ordered a throwout bearing at the same time, but I need to get my flywheel and clutch installed. Part of what I need to get it started. This is an ACT setup here, light and flywheel. Then a twin disc setup, pretty heavy duty clutch, and you know, it's handled way more horsepower than I have, but pretty aggressive clutch. A couple guys have ran these and they really like them. Say it's nice and smooth and tons of clamping force, so should be able to thrash on that thing pretty good, and it shouldn't care, so that's what we like. That engine bay has turned out just insane. I come out here and stare at it all the time. And I'm going to I've got my ECU back, so that's been flashed. This was done by a pretty well-known guy down in south of me, and eventually I'll take it down there and get it dyno tuned. What else we got going? I'm going to you know, heat coming out of this tunnel has been an issue. We don't have hot weather over here, so it's probably not going to be quite an issue for me. But still, trying to insulate, you know, the cabin here. And one of the guys, what he did was just laid a insulation blanket over the tops of those tubes and cooling tubes and heater tubes. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'll probably apply some heat resistant backing on the back of those panels also. So it's going to be hard to keep the heat out of here. It's going to be hard to make this thing airtight, watertight, so, you know, and keep the noise down. It is what it is. I'm used to loud cars where you hear all the noises, you know, every little pebble you run over and the motor and stuff, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm not looking for, you know, like a, what do you call it, you know, like a production car build. So anyway, we'll get that mat in there. Gotta finalize the wiring for my tunnel fan that I got in the tunnel here. And that's going to work pretty good, like, you know, not necessarily while you're driving probably, but if you got to wait in line somewhere, if you're in a parade, or you get done, you park it, and it's hot, and, you know, and you just kick them fans on, keep the airflow. Those two down here, just by themselves, you know, you could stand right here and it blows quite a bit of wind, so I'm thinking that's going to work pretty good.